Bet you guys weren't expecting this background when you clicked on that video. Hey guys, it's Kasara, and today I'm going to be doing my July book haul. I mentioned this in a few of my other videos, particularly my unhaul that I literally just did, but I'm going through a massive bookshelf reorganization right now. My shelves are not pretty right this second, so I'm not filming in front of them, but also it changed up how I kind of did my filming, because I used to put all my books as I got them throughout the month on the bookshelf underneath my TV, so I'd have them all in one place, and then I could just film the video, and then I would disperse them throughout my shelves. Well, that shelf is no longer available for me because all of my classic books are now on that shelf, so I'm not gonna have that option anymore, so I kind of just did a film as you go sort of thing. So let me know what you guys think of it. I hope it's not too jarring for you guys. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So I'm not fully ready for this haul because I haven't gotten everything that I plan on getting yet, but my shelves are just a complete mess and I need to get these books on my shelves. So I'm just gonna haul these books for you guys really quick. I'm gonna start with the book that I already featured on my channel, and that's The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. I absolutely love this book. I'm still currently, as I'm filming this clip, I'm still currently reading this book, but it is fantastic. Probably one of my new favorite books of all time. I do plan on doing a full review of this book before this video comes out, so I'll link it up in the cards if you guys want to know more about this book, but highly, highly recommend this. Also, the next book I'm gonna haul is one that I had actually hauled in June, but somehow forgot to mention, and that's The Tiger at Midnight by Swati Teradala. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've heard really good things about this one. It's South Asian inspired. I'm just really excited for it. I've heard really, really great things about it. I have heard that this is more of like a romance-focused fantasy novel, so I'm going into it knowing that, but I don't know anything else about this, and I'm really excited to get to it. Also, during the last couple weeks of June, I was in New Orleans, so I decided to pick up a book from one of the local stores in New Orleans, and I decided to pick up The Gothic Tales of H.P. Lovecraft. I also mentioned this on my channel in one of my vlogs. I really was excited when I saw this book, one, because it's such a beautiful naked hardback, but also because I've never seen the short stories that are in this. I do have like a collection of H.P. Lovecraft short stories, but I don't actually recognize any of the ones in there. I'm guessing they're not his most popular ones, but it makes me excited for this. I think this could definitely be a great read for me during the month of October because H.P. Lovecraft is just a classic horror author. And this next book is one that I've already read like last year on audio, but I needed to get a physical copy of this book, and that's The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. I absolutely love the Poppy War series. I cannot wait for The Burning God that's coming out very, very soon, and I'm so excited for it. And in anticipation of The Burning God coming out, I do plan on rereading The Poppy War and The Dragon Republic, so I needed to get a physical copy of it so that I can switch between the audiobook and the physical copy. I'm so excited about it. Another fantastically written Asian-inspired high fantasy that I just absolutely love. Now we're gonna get to my book of the month order. The first book that I ended up getting was Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I've heard some really great things about this, and the fact that it's like a horror novel makes me like really want to read this. I don't know how much I'm gonna like it because Sylvia Moreno Garcia is not an author that I really love her writing style, but I'm hoping that since it's a different genre and it's not fantasy, I'll end up really loving this. So I'm really excited for this. A lot of people have had really great reviews for it, and I'm hoping that I'll love it as much as everyone else seems to. I also decided to pick up The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I really regretted not getting this in June. I completely skipped over this when I looked at it in June because I was just like, historical fiction? I'm not really into historical fiction, right? So I just skipped over it and I went straight to some of the other ones, but I really regret that because I've heard such good things about it since then. I'm just really excited to get into this. It has such an interesting concept because it's about twin sisters who lead very different lives because one basically lives as a white person and one lives as a black person. And it's just a really interesting concept that I'm excited to see the execution of. And lastly, one that I've seen just everywhere these days, that's Beach Read by Emily Henry. I've heard really great things about this. I've really been in a romantic contemporary mood, and I've heard this one gets kind of deep and like cerebral at times, and I'm just excited for it. When I'm ready for something that's just a romantic contemporary, which I probably will be at some point because for some reason this summer this is just all the types of books that I want to read right now, I'm really excited to get to it, and hopefully I can get to it very soon. I got a few more books. By a few I mean like a stack of more books to haul for you guys. So let's just get into them in no particular order. First, we have Magician Master by Raymond E. Feast. I already have the first book in the series, Magician Apprentice. I've heard really, really great things about this series. I do plan on reading these two novels, Apprentice and Master, before the end of the year this year, and I'm really excited to get to it. So I decided to go ahead and get this one now so that when I do get to Magician Apprentice, this one will just be ready and waiting for me. This is like one of the more classic adult high fantasy series that I've heard really, really good things about. I also decided to get The Bone Dolls Twin by Lynn Fleeweling. So this was one of the books that was on my TBR poll from a couple of months ago now, and it got second place. So while it didn't win, I was still really intrigued by this book, and it was on my fantasy books written by female authors, which I do plan on reading more books that fits under that category throughout the rest of the year. So I decided to just go ahead and get this one as well. It's the first book in a high fantasy series. That's kind of all I know about it, but this cover I've seen kind of a lot of places, like on best fantasy lists and things like that. So I'm really intrigued by that. I also decided to get The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. So this is like a contemporary classic, almost like a modern classic, I guess is the way you would say that. I don't know anything about this, but I've heard it's like really moving and it's like a really short book. I just wanted to try it. I've been meaning to try it for the longest while. I keep borrowing the audiobook from my library and then returning it just because I don't have a physical copy that reminds me to actually read it. So I decided to get a physical copy. So I have it, and it's a very short classic that I think I could read for one of my months. The next book I decided to get was Elsewhen's by Melanie Ron. So this one I actually got used. The title made me really, really excited for it because it seems really interesting. Like Elsewhen's concept of it just sounds interesting. Look at that cover. It's another like older fantasy. Like I've been just looking through a lot of those recently, and I didn't realize when I got it though that it's the book 2 in a series. So I'm gonna have to get the first book first, but I am excited to get to this series. It seems like a very interesting series that I could potentially really like, and I've heard really good things about Melanie Ron as an author as well. I also decided to get Night Watch by Sergei Luyanenko. This is a translated work that I've seen going around BookTube a little bit, and I've seen a lot of people like it. I like to try things from different countries that were translated from different languages. I found that a lot of times I really end up loving them. It was originally written in Russian, which I feel like Russian literature is actually really good. Like some of my like favorite literary authors are Russian authors, and I don't know, I like reading their work, and this one just has like a magical twist on it. I have never seen like a lot of like actual magical things coming out of like Russian literature, so I think that's a really interesting concept, and I'm excited for this. Next, we have Death's End by Cixin Liu. I need to continue on with this series. It's the third book in the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy. The first book, The Three-Body Problem, I read and I absolutely love, and I've been meaning to pick up the second book, but I feel like I just haven't gotten the motivation for it. So I figured picking up Death's End, I might have the motivation to pick up the second book. Oh my gosh, this is a chunker. This one's big. I just need to continue on with it. It's an Asian sci-fi series that was originally translated from Chinese, which I just think is really cool, and it has some really interesting concepts and mysteries, and I just absolutely love it, and I'm really excited to continue on with this series. So the next one I decided to pick up is Ona Out of Order by Margarita Montemor. I've been meaning to pick this book up for the longest while and just haven't gotten around to it because I don't have a physical copy. Nothing to remind me that I need to read this book. I've heard that it's a really interesting sort of time travel book, and it's told through an incongruous timeline. That's all I really know about it, but that's all I really need to know about it. I love incongruous timelines. I love time travel. I'm here for it. I've heard really good things about it. I think it's a newer release. Yep, it came out this year in 2020, so this is actually a new release. I didn't know that. I thought this was from last year, but that makes me even more excited for it, the fact that I've heard so much about it already. I'm really happy to have this one. Also, the coloring here. I just absolutely love the cover here. Next, we have The Bear and the Serpent by Adrian Chupkovsky. I've heard really great things about this author, especially his Children of Time series. I'm always hesitant going into an author through sci-fi just because I don't read that much sci-fi, but when I found out he had a fantasy series, I was just like, I need to try some of his fantasy. So I decided to get one of his fantasy books, and hopefully I can like his writing style so I can get to more of his works, because I've heard really great things about this author in general, and I want to try some of his works. Next, I got The Mist of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. I've been meaning to get this book for the longest while. It's a classic fantasy book that I haven't read yet, and I've heard such good things about it. I'm excited for this. I believe this is like a King Arthur retelling. Yep. King Arthur. So that makes me really excited. Hopefully I'll end up loving this. Okay, before I forget, we need to talk about the audiobooks and the ebooks that I purchased in the month of July. I always forget to do this. So this is actually going to be the last 2 months of purchases because I totally forgot to do this in my June book haul. So we are going to start with ebooks. So I purchased one ebook in the month of July, and that is The Queen of the Conquered by Karen Callender. I've heard really, really good things about this book. One, it has a gorgeous cover that I absolutely love. I've also heard that it's Caribbean fantasy, which is interesting. It might be magical realism, but either way, I'm really excited for it. I did want to get the physical copy of it, but they were doing a sale on the ebook, and I was just like, I can't resist. So I went ahead and got it. I know that I might regret that in the future because I don't read ebooks that often, but I just really wanted to have a copy of this book because my library doesn't have it, and I'm really excited to get to it. Also, I did get 3 ebooks from NetGalley, which is a lot from NetGalley because I struggled to get those reviews up, but I'm actually really excited for all of them. The first one is The Rightful Queen by Isabel Steger. So this is the sequel to The Empire's Ghost, which I'm actually currently reading. Like, I've been really excited for. I got it a few months ago, and I've been super excited to get to it ever since then. I'm currently reading it, and I'm currently loving it. So I'm really excited to have the sequel to it because it came out like a year and a half after the first book. So I can get to the sequel right after I finish the first book, which I'm really excited for. Also, it's a deeply political high fantasy novel, and what more can I ask for? Honestly, like, that is just what I live and breathe for. Next, we have The Kraken's Tooth by Anthony Ryan, and this book is the sequel to Pilgrimage of Swords by Anthony Ryan, which I actually got last year, and I did a review on that, so if you haven't seen that review, I'll link it up in the cards for you guys. That book was about a man who went on a pilgrimage to pray to a mad god. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's a very short book. I think it's a series of novellas, and I love the way Anthony Ryan was able to get all of that characterization in for multiple different characters in such a short book that is also very action-packed. Like, I love his writing, and I love how much he's able to pack into a very short story, so I'm really excited to get to this one as well. And the last one is The Once and Future Witches by Alexi Harrow, which right after I finished The 10,000 Words of January, I needed another book by Alexi Harrow. I just love the way she writes. It's more historical fiction, but with like fantastic elements, which I really love. I just really love that aspect of it, and I feel like I could potentially really, really love this. I feel like this one is also going to be darker than her first novel, and I'm definitely there for it. And then we're going to move on to the audiobooks that I got, which I got 3 audiobooks. One of them was actually from NetGalley, brand new feature on NetGalley, which makes me really excited because I love audiobooks so much. And I ended up getting Girl, Serpent, and Thorn by Melissa Bachardos. I've heard really good things about this book. The cover of this book is gorgeous. I absolutely love the cover. Because of that, I kind of want to get a physical copy of this book, which I might do if I really like it. I believe this is a Sleeping Beauty retelling? I might be wrong on that, but it is some kind of fairy tale retelling, I know that much, and I've heard she has really beautiful writing, which I'm hoping will translate to audio really well. Melissa Bachardos is an author that I've been meaning to read for a while because I've heard really good things about her, specifically Girls Made of Snow and Glass, but I haven't gotten around to that yet, but hopefully I can get to Girl, Serpent, and Thorn very soon. And then I did have 2 purchases from Audible. The first one is Dawn by Octavia E. Butler, which I've already read. Most of the time when I purchase something from Audible, I've either already read it or plan to read it very soon, and I can't get it anywhere else. Dawn is the first book in the Xenogenesis cycle, which is following a character named Lilith, who is woken up after hundreds of years by this alien race who are basically trying to put humanity back together after they destroyed themselves. It is so good. I absolutely love it. I love the concept of this book. It's very high concept in a very interesting way. I love the aliens. The aliens are like some of the most alien aliens that you'll ever read about. I just think Octavia Butler is just brilliant in her writing. She's really hard on her characters. This book gets really dark sometimes. It's really hard to read sometimes, but I still absolutely loved every second of it. Highly recommend, and I can't wait to continue on with this series and more of Butler's works because she is just a phenomenal author. And the other one I got was A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. So I got this one because my library didn't have the audiobook, and I really liked the audiobook of An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, which A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor is the sequel to An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. I really loved An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. Honestly, I was a little disappointed by A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor. I'm not going to go into it here, but I did talk about it in my mid-month wrap-up if you want to check that out. Okay, so a few more of my books arrived, so I'm going to share those with you. I'm going to start with the books that I've already read. So first we have Avatar: The Last Airbender. North and South. So this is the 5th of the Avatar: The Last Airbender graphic novels. I absolutely love Avatar: The Last Airbender, and as soon as I found out there were graphic novels for this, I downloaded like the first part of the first one to my iPad, and oh my gosh, I loved it so much, and I immediately went and ordered all 6 of them. Problem is, they're on back order. So I only got one of them. It was the only one that wasn't on back order. I'm glad I got this one though. I think it's like my 3rd favorite of all of them, but it's still really good. I absolutely love this series. I love this franchise. I love everything Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm so glad that I have this. Like, it is gorgeous. I love how big it is. I just love everything about it. While I have already finished reading them all by this point, which you'll see that in some of my vlogs, I am just really happy to have this, and I can't wait to get the rest of them because I know they'll be shipping eventually, and I'm excited to get those as well. Next, we have a Network Effect by Martha Wells. So this one is the 5th book in the Murderbach Diaries, and it's the first like full-length novel. Like, that's much bigger than all of the like novellas, and I absolutely love this. This was my favorite one in the Murderbach Diaries altogether. I love the characters that are in this. I love some of the character development that we get in here. So this is about artificial intelligences, by the way. They have real character development and emotional things that happen in this book. I love the way that it's done. I think Martha Wells just does a phenomenal job of writing artificial intelligences. It's one of the best artificial intelligence representation that I've seen in books, and I absolutely love it. I ended up giving this book 4.75 stars. Hilarious, fun book that I absolutely loved. I'm really, really happy to have a physical copy of it. So this next book I actually got used, which is like a new thing for me. Like, I almost always buy my books new, but this book I'm really happy to have. It came in really good condition, and that's The Sheep Farmer's Daughter by Elizabeth Moon. So this book was recommended to me by one of my subscribers, or at least was commented to me on a video that I should try this because it's a high fantasy book written by a woman, which I was looking for recommendations for that during that video. This one had been on my radar. It had been one that I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. But since they commented about this one specifically, as well as other ones that I was actually really interested in, I figured this is one that I'll probably end up really, really loving. So I'm really excited to get to this one. I don't know if I'm gonna get to it this month or it's gonna be in later months, but I'm really excited to have it. It's the first book in a series called The Deed of Parksanon. That's really all I know about it, but honestly, it's really all I need to know about it. First book in a high fantasy series, I'm gonna give it a try. So I'm really excited to have it. So the next book I decided to get is The Mothers by Britt Bennett. This one was a little bit of a stretch for me because I had planned to read The Vanishing Half this month, and I still plan to read The Vanishing Half this month, and I'm really excited for it. But I've heard really good things about that, and The Mothers is the other book by Britt Bennett that I've also heard is really good. So I figured if I really, really love The Vanishing Half, I might just want to read her other book as well. So I decided to get it as well, and I'm excited for this. I believe this is a book about a girl who gets pregnant really young or something like that, and it's like hidden or something. I don't know exactly what it's about, but I'm excited to find out. And then I ended up getting a few books by the wonderful Octavia E. Butler, and that's Parable of the Sower and Parable of Talents. First of all, I love these editions of her books. They are gorgeous. I absolutely love them. Also, Octavia E. Butler is a fantastic writer. I love her prose. It's absolutely beautiful, and she has some of the most creative and original ideas that I absolutely love. She also writes really dark fiction, and it's sci-fi, and I just love everything about Octavia E. Butler. Everything. I want to read pretty much every book that she's ever written, and I also want to own pretty much every book that she's ever written. So I had to get these. These are 2 of the only books that I own by her. I only own 1 other book by her, but I've read 2 other books by her, so I'm just excited to add these to my collection, and I will definitely be getting to these within the next year or so. Probably this year, honestly. I will probably be getting to it this year, and I'm super excited for it. So I'm also going to be expanding my Stephen King collection a little bit with Salem's Lot and It. So I'm really excited for this. I've heard really great things about both of these. I found that I do better with Stephen King novels if they're like really popular ones, like The Shining and Pet Sematary are 2 books that I absolutely love by Stephen King. I think these 2 are also really popular in the Stephen King universe. I'm really excited to get to it. I think I'm gonna get to It really soon. Like, I've seen the movie for It, so I have an idea of what's going on in this book. For some reason, I just want to get to it. I don't know why. I just feel like Stephen King's writing in It is just gonna be what I'm looking for. I'm probably gonna get to this one very soon, but I do plan on getting to Salem's Lot before the end of the year as well. Then I decided to pick up Middlegain by Shannon McGuire. I've been meaning to pick up this book literally all year long. I've been meaning to read it, and I just haven't. And I think part of the reason for that is because I didn't have a physical copy, because I feel like this is the type of book that I would like to switch between the physical copy and the audiobook. Like, this is just the type of book that I would want to do that for because it's pretty chunky, and I don't like listening to entire audiobooks for like 30-hour audiobooks. I'm excited for this. I've heard very mixed reviews on this. Some people really love it. Some people were very meh about it. I don't know. Like, I've heard a lot of things specifically specifically about a relationship in this book. Like, I think it's like either a friend relationship or a sibling relationship, and I tend to like those a lot when they're done well. I'm hesitantly excited for it. And the last things I have for you guys in this mini haul is The Traitor Baru Cormorant and The Monster Baru Cormorant by Seth Dickinson. I've heard tons of things about these books, and I've heard in the past these books were very popular, and the third book in the series is coming out very soon. I kind of want to see what all the hype was about. Don't worry, I still got 2 more books for you. I got 2 books that arrived this morning that I'm really excited to share with you guys. The first one is The Godstalker Chronicles by P.C. Hodgel. So this is a fantasy series that I've heard is really good. It's a very underrated fantasy series, and it's actually 2 books in one. I didn't know that when I ordered it. Like, I didn't realize that I was getting the entire Godstalker Chronicles. I thought it was just the first book in the Godstalker Chronicles, but no, it's the entire Godstalker Chronicles. So right here is chapter 1 for Dark of the Moon. So all of this right here is Godstock, and all of this is Dark of the Moon. And I'm really excited for it. I didn't know I was gonna get 2 books in one. That makes me so happy. I didn't realize this book was gonna be as big as it is, but it's like 900 pages. So it's like 400 to 450 pages per book. I'm really excited to get to this. I've heard really good things. I've heard it's a really great underrated fantasy, and I hope that it is so that I can continue to recommend this to you guys in the future. But I'm really, really excited for this. And then I also got Dagger Spell by Catherine Kerr. So this is the first book in the Deborah cycle, which is another fantasy series that has been recommended to me from you guys. So I'm excited to get into it. It's also a high fantasy series, which I'm excited for. As you can tell, this is definitely used. It was like used good condition, I think, was what it says. I probably wouldn't consider this good condition because of like the coloring and like, I don't know. I would consider this fair. Maybe it's good condition. For someone else, this is good condition, but I generally buy new books. But a lot of these older books are either not available new or just like really expensive. And I also want to try and start buying some used books because they're cheaper, and we'll see. We'll see if I like used books. Both of these were used, by the way, but this one is in like perfect condition and I love it. This one, I don't know what happened, but we'll see. I'm excited for this. I've heard good things about this one. I want to get into this as well. So that is all I have for you guys. If you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments because I would love to discuss with you guys. So I post videos on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so consider subscribing. And if you want to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.